Thanks for tuning in today at CHURCHGIRL.com. We've got a special conversation. I've got my husband Taylor with me.
Hello.
I thought it would be fun to talk about dating.
Ooh.
I have titled this conversation, The Do's and Don'ts of Christian Dating. And you and I, we met when we were only, 19 years old?
Yeah, we have a lot of experience with Christian dating because we met in college.
Yeah.
At a Christian college. We went to Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida together. And I'll never forget, it was actually it was like our second or third week of school.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies comes up to me and he says, "Hey, these girls invited us to go get ice cream." And, you know, when you're a freshman in college, that's why you're there, right? and so I'll never forget walking up to a Cold Stone Creamery, and there's this group of girls sitting outside, and I was like, "All right, so who's who?" And from a distance, he pointed you out. And Cold Stone, they have 3 different sizes. It's like it, love it, and gotta have it. And small, medium, and large. And I saw Kristen, and I said, like it, love it, gotta have it. And honestly, we hit it off that night.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Immediately, these 2 friend groups came together, and we just had a blast. And we were just in college. We were walking around like a strip mall in Central Florida.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, though, having such a blast. Like, we were laughing, having so much fun. And at the very end of the night, you say, "All right, well, it was so good to meet you. I got to go because my boyfriend is picking me up now." And I was like, what on earth?
Well,
and we became really good friends.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That's when we started friendship, and we kind of went through a season together of actually being friends. And I like to joke
Genuinely.
that I was so much Taylor's friend that I tried to set him up with my
True.
roommate. And so we were definitely friends. And then a couple months later, it was almost like something just switched in our relationship, and I saw Taylor differently. And shortly after, we started dating.
Yeah.
And that was when we were 19 years old.
Yes.
We didn't know really how to do dating the right way.
It was a tumultuous time.
Yeah, you would say. We broke up maybe
We say we broke up 8 times, but it could have been more.
It could have been more.
So learn from our 4.5 years plus experience of dating. And so
We're going to give you some do's and don'ts.
Yes.
We feel like we have some experience here. And so I think the first one that we'll start with is this: do date with a purpose. Do date with a purpose. I think that most Christians, if we're honest, and especially in youth group culture, I don't know where you are, what season you're in, or even in college, it's very normal to have the end in mind when you start dating someone. You're looking for somebody who, hey, maybe this person could be the kind of person I could see myself living life with.
Definitely. And I think that that's like at the forefront of like the way that we're taught and raised, and I think it should be. Date with purpose, date with the end in mind, date with the idea that I'm looking for a spouse.
Yeah.
I'm not just having fun. I think that that's a really big deal because that has crept into, it's a big part of culture right now. Hey, I'm just having fun. But in Christianity, what does that really mean? I just think that that's kind of dangerous language, and I think that it's important how we think about this. So we are looking for a spouse if we're dating, but I think that dating with that much purpose, as you say, comes with a whole lot of pressure.
Yeah, and so I would say do date with purpose, but don't date with so much pressure.
Yeah, take it easy.
If I could go back,
Take it easy.
if I could go back, I feel like if we had more conversations, the truth is we fell in love really fast.
Yes.
And we felt like the only next step was marriage.
Yeah.
Well, we were 19 and 20 years old, and we
Yeah.
were certainly not ready to get married. We didn't really know each other yet, but there was so much pressure put on us. So in the same way of yes, there should be purpose, there also doesn't need to be so much pressure to know right away if this is the person you're going to spend your life with. That's why it's dating.
Yeah.
And I think some Christian couples, they try to get ahead of themselves in the stage that they're in. When dating does have a purpose, that purpose is figuring out if this is the kind of person you want to spend your life with. Engagement is when you've already made that decision.
Yes.
And then you start to work together. And by the way, engagement is not permanent either. You can quit on being engaged. You
can't quit on being married.
You can't quit on being married.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I like that. Date with purpose. And the reality is we broke up so many times because I felt this pressure that I had to know.
Yeah.
When you know, you know. And I'll never forget, growing up, my dad, he would always say, man, son, when I saw your mom, I saw her and I just knew that she was the one. And that put a level of pressure on me where I was just like, well, like, I mean, yeah, she's one, but
Yeah.
but I was 19 and my head was on a swivel, as I like to joke about, and the reality is I was very unsure because it was such a serious decision, and the reality is I would get to this breaking point where like felt so stressed out. I saw Kristen, but I was in college and my I
Lots of
saw
options.
other beautiful girls, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I think a lot of guys actually go through that, and and because of all of that, I would break up with her, and I would often blame the reason that I wanted to break up with her. I would blame it on God.
Yes.
I would actually say, hey, you know what? I just feel like because this decision of who I'm going to marry is so spiritual and serious, that God is telling me
Right.
that we need to break up.
Which leads us to our next one. Do not, okay, this is a total don't. Do not use God as an excuse to why you will or will not be with somebody.
Yes.
I think that this is a big one. I've heard this before, even on the other side, where
Yeah.
I've had girls come to me and they've said, God told me that he is my husband. And I'll say, okay, well, how long have you guys been dating? And it has happened where she said, well, we haven't met yet.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like, I don't know if this is how God works.
Yes.
Um,
And there are stories. There's a handful of examples where people have experienced this, where they felt like
Yeah.
God said, and after they dated and after they got to know each other, turns out that it worked out.
yeah.
But, when we look at the 10 Commandments, one of them is don't take the Lord's name in vain. And it's a common misconception that that means don't say, oh my God, which is not actually what the 10 Commandments is saying there. Not taking the Lord's name in vain quite literally means don't say God said when God didn't say. What has God said? God has said that it's good when a man finds a wife. God has said that blessed are the pure in heart. God, they're blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. So finding a wife is a good thing, but purity and righteousness is a good thing, and finding someone who you align with in your values and someone who you want to raise a family with. All of these are what you're pursuing, and if you can find someone who fits your personality and becomes a friend,
Yeah.
this is not necessarily God said or God didn't say. God gave us an outline of the good things we're looking for.
Yeah.
So make that what God said. I'm going to have God's standards, but you're the one or you're not the one is not on God. That's on you. There's a lot of people that God can bring into your path, and it's our responsibility to figure out who it is that God wants us to align with.
Which I actually think, and this wasn't really in like what we prepared, but I do think that there is a common idea that there is one person, one soulmate.
Totally.
And we would say that we disagree with that.
100%.
Right? So like for the people thinking though that like, well, God has a plan for my life, one plan for my life, or
Yeah.
God has a purpose, or God has a
If God
destiny.
has one plan for your life, then that means there's a lot of pressure and we can really screw it all up.
Right.
But God is infinite and he knows all the infinite different options, and God gives us options in this life. Sometimes there's 5 job opportunities and all of them are an opportunity that's from God. So the
Sure.
question is, sometimes God gives you options in this life, and I don't think relationships, it's not like you're looking for options or even looking for your best option. But I do think it's looking for those godly values and looking for this common, like, are you ready? And there's lots of people out there. And I think we over spiritualize like finding the one. Once you marry the one, they are the one.
They are the one.
Like Kristen, she is the one now that we're married.
No.
And I can't imagine being married to anybody else. We actually talk about it sometimes. Can you imagine being married to so and so or someone else? Like Pat, it just as like a joke. And we're like, man, we're so grateful
Yeah.
that we found each other.
Yeah.
And I'm just so in love with you, and I love still dating you. So
I love you.
pretty awesome.
You're so sweet.
We're running out of time. I think we should keep going.
So we talked about purpose. We talked about pressure. We talked about
Not blaming God.
not blaming God.
Do not say
I think
God
the
said.
next one is and this is one that I think you and I did in the beginning really well, is that we pursued godly friendships.
Yeah.
And I do wish that more people who are on this journey would do this, would pursue, like, okay, what does it look like to find someone? I think there's lots of ways these days to find someone to date. You can be online, you can have a friend introduce you, you can do whatever you want to do. But I think that when you get to find out who someone is in a group of people, it usually shows you who they really are,
Yeah.
rather than, hey, let's get to a date, and they kind of present their best self to you. And so I think that's why church is so important, the
Yeah.
local
Community.
or even having churches in your area where maybe they have certain like nights where you can get to know people or meet people. I think that's important. So pursuing
So what's
godly
the
friendships.
do? Oh, so pursue friendship.
Yeah,
Do
pursue friendship.
be a friend first. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's essential because who you're marrying is more than your lover and your partner. It's your friend.
Yeah.
And the friendship will last forever.
Yeah. And that can't always happen. I know some people meet and they instantly, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we're crazy about each other.
Yeah, and
But
I also think there's different stages. I think there's some
yeah,
people as you get a little bit older, there's a little bit more of a like a rush on like, hey, I'm actually looking for
really intentional.
yeah, I'm looking for someone that I would
Yeah.
spend the rest of my life with, you know? So that friendship is developed through that dating. But the friendship component needs to be there.
Yeah.
You got to laugh together. You got to enjoy doing nothing together. You got to enjoy being just around one another. You got to,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have to like all the same things. You don't have to like all the same
Right.
movies. We don't like
Right.
all the same movies. You know, like but there needs to be a friendship, you know.
Yeah.
There's got to be some laughter. There's got to be some
And I always think it's good when you can hang out in groups too and
Yeah.
see them interact with their friends and
Yeah.
who their friends think they really are.
Yeah, I think a big a trend I'm seeing in dating right now, especially with Christians, is that because the pressure's so high to find the right one, and because everything's so digital right now, a lot of people start dating secretly before they ever let their friends even know about it. They'll meet someone online,
Yeah.
they'll start a chat, they figure out where it's going, and a few weeks of building a relationship starts with this complete stranger. And then I've seen a lot of people bring their friends into the conversation a lot like a few months down the road
Yeah.
where your heart's already been given away, and then your friends provide maybe some feedback about this person and people are just so offended and it's really hard. I would say like have no secret dating. Like
I
you
think
should
that's
never
good.
date in secret.
Yeah.
I just think that's silly. Like you should never be like, yeah, I'm going on a date with a guy. I'm not gonna tell my friends because I'm not sure how it's gonna pan out. I think that that's really foolish, and I think that it really sets you up to lose. I don't think it sets
Yeah.
you up to win. Just include people on the journey. It'll
Yeah.
help you have a better dating relationship.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, and we have one more that I was thinking about. We were with a friend and they mentioned this to us, and I really like this idea. I think that a lot of people can learn from this, is do date long enough to see someone in every season. Do date long enough to see someone in every season. Of course, you can't see people in, emergency crisis all the time before you marry them or anything like that.
Sorry, nothing bad's happened in your life yet. We can't get married.
We can't get married. I need to see you in trauma. No, but it is good to be able to like go through seasons together, even in like a natural way of like seeing someone in fall and winter, spring, summer. Like, who are they? What are they like? What are they like when they get mad? What are they like when you have a miscommunication? How does this person react when a door closes in their face? How are they when disappointment comes knocking, right? And so being able to see people in every season, because sometimes we show our best self, we present our best self, and then we never open up long enough, and we fall in love, and we, speed through the process of dating, and then when you actually get married and the high is gone, you actually see someone for who they really are. And sometimes that can be really, really difficult,
Yeah.
right? And so
And on the same token, that rush of falling in love is natural. It's a God-given gift.
Yeah.
That passion, that desire, it's real, and it does wane over time. And I think some people also think, well, let's wait for it to wane
sure.
before we make the decision. Then I'll really know what it's going to be like. And I think that that's also, it's like you got to find this balance. Like, hey, no, that's actually part of the motivation to get married.
Yeah.
And I think it's a whole lot easier, like when that passion is there. And this is why, like sex before marriage actually is a really, I think, like a big reason why God doesn't want us to do it, is because honestly, like sex is a good motivator to get married. And like
Sure.
intimacy and physical intimacy in that way is a good motivator to say, hey, like the passion's real, and I am looking forward to that season of my life where we can
Yeah.
sleep together and wake up together. And I know that that was a big motivator for me. Honestly, I was like, I want to have sex. Yeah, I want to. Let's get married. Like 4.5 years, and I don't think that's wrong. I think
Right.
it's good. That, like there are benefits, like, and there are this desire that I think God wants you to have.
Yeah.
And I think that when you steward that well, so you don't want to go too quick.
Yeah.
You also don't want to wait too long.
Yeah. Because the world tries to take that motivation out.
Yeah, they want you to
See?
try everything
Yeah.
and lose the passion.
Yeah. But, we've had conversations with people before too who are like, oh, I don't know. Like, we don't feel this pressure to get married. Like, when will we really know we should get married? And I've said to them before, I've said, well, I mean, are you sleeping together? Because maybe if you take that out of the equation and honor God with that part of your relationship, the motivation will come back. you know? I think there should be seasons, right? And I think that that's one of those things. It's like acting an age that you're not. It's like,
Yeah.
Every season there's appropriate behavior,
Yes.
right? So dating has appropriate engagement, and then
Yeah.
marriage. And so many people try to speed that up and act like they're married while they're still just dating.
Yeah.
And
And don't mishear this. Should not be the motivation to get married, but it is a motivator
Sure.
to get married.
Yeah.
Not the, but it is and that's okay. And that's
Yeah.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really good. Anything else you want to add?
Do
Do-
kiss a lot. Wait, not in dating. Wait, hold on.
That's for the marriage.
Okay, that's the next
The
episode.
marriage episode. But yeah, thank you so much for joining with us. If this spoke to you, or if there was something in it that really encouraged you, or maybe you thought differently about it, feel free to share it with a friend. We hope that this is helpful for you, and that God continues to guide you and lead you on the journey of dating. God has a great plan for your future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.